She's 9 years old. Her father says that she went into the girls' bathroom at her Massachusetts elementary school expecting privacy. What happened inside that bathroom and what her family says happened afterward has become part of a much bigger debate about student privacy, transgender student protections, parental rights, and the responsibilities of public schools. Today, we're hearing directly from her father. I'm Sarah Howard with Next Gen. I know you said this story a couple of times, but if you could take me all the way back, how did this all happen from start?
Well, the actual event happened May 1st, but we can back up probably almost a year behind when they were on a field trip. And this is how I came to light of what was going on. They were on a field trip in Plymouth at Pawtucket's Village. It was right around Thanksgiving time. And the teacher ushered this individual into a bathroom with my daughter, and she came running back out and told the teacher she wasn't going into the bathroom with this individual. And she came home and told us, and right away my wife called, and we called the school and said, look, my daughter was trying to be forced to go in the bathroom with a boy. And the principal was like, well, I wasn't there. No boy should be in the bathroom with her. I will investigate with the teacher. And nothing ever came about it. So it was a couple of months later, like around the holidays, Christmas time in January, right after Christmas, our daughter comes home and says, this boy is still using the bathroom. And my wife called the school about it too. And again, it was denial and avoidance, and she said, no boy is supposed to be in the girls' bathroom. We let it go. Now comes May 1st, my daughter's in school, it's on a Friday, and she's using the restroom, and this individual was in the bathroom, and he had a discussion with another student, because there's a witnesses to this, and with his statement too, that they knew that there was a person in there that could see the feet in the stall, and this child thought it was okay to go ahead and start peeping through the cracks of the stall on my daughter. And my daughter, he was giggling, and my daughter yelled at him, and he proceeded to act like he was going to leave to the bathroom, open the door, and closed the door, thinking that he came back and continued to peer through them. And she yelled, and she went to get up to get dressed. He pushed the door open and exposed it. So we immediately, she went back to the classroom, just like I've been saying, though, she was crying, and the teacher asked her what was wrong. She was like, well, I missed my parents, and that was a way that she verbalizes things, because she's an introvert. She has a little social anxiety, which we were working on, and we were almost done with that, with therapy and stuff. And so she came home that day, and when she got off the bus, she came in, her eyes were red and puffy, and if you could see how fair-skinned she is, you could tell she was crying. She was crying a lot. And we proceeded to ask her, and she said, again, I miss you guys, because she didn't know how to verbalize what would happen. And we questioned her again, we know there's something else, because that's just your child, there's something else underneath it. And she proceeded to tell us the story about what happened. And we immediately got on the phone, and talked to try to get a hold of the principal. The secretary decided she wants to screen the calls, because that's what they do here in the school. See, they want to screen the calls before the principal gets it, to give them a heads up of what's going on. And we were like telling her it's none of her really concerned, but it's an urgent matter. And she was on the other line. As soon as she hangs up, she will give you a call. Never happened. So we went through the whole weekend with this drama and trauma with her, and she was sick. She was sick to her anxiety and just the nausea and the anxiousness. It was just, her level was above and beyond. And then on Monday, my wife was able to get a hold of her almost through most of the day. I had to convince my daughter to go to school, because she didn't want to go back to school on Monday. She was scared to get on the bus, so I drove her, and I reassured her that she was going to be okay. And if anything, go to the nurse in the school, which I know her very well, very nice lady, and I said, you have her call me, and we will go and pick you out. And the principal spoke with my wife, which she denies, and she told us on Monday that no boys are allowed in the bathroom, and that she will investigate. Come Tuesday, apparently that changed. She must have learned something herself, because she tried to investigate the situation. And she pulled my daughter out of the classroom to ask her about it, and then proceeded to tell her on Tuesday that this child had a legal allowance. Now, I didn't know what that was. My daughter didn't know what it was. They're telling her these policies to a 9-year-old that has no legal knowledge of laws or anything that's going on. That's not their job. Their job is to go to school and be students, right? Learn, read, write, have fun with their peers.
Especially with that, it should be like maybe have a parent there or someone just.
Oh no, we skipped
She
that.
wouldn't have understood it anyway.
Yeah, they totally skipped that. That's like a violation of FERPA right there. And then my daughter comes home that day and asks Daddy, what is legal allowance? This lieutenant told me that this individual had legal allowance, and that's where everything started snowballing down. My wife was pretty upset, and I was upset about it. And we tried to get answers from the school, and nothing.
Yeah. So, as far as questions for that, we pretty much covered, because I was going to ask, when did you hear about it? So did the district dispute any part of your daughter's account? Like, what did they tell you as far as, is it all just right now as far as?
No, what they said is that she should have locked the bathroom. That was the principal's, that was her blatantly said, well, she didn't latch the door, or whether she did or not. Let's go back to the behavior. Let's take this child's belief of what he is. Let's take that out of the equation. This child went in, and it was a behavioral issue at that point too. It just compounded as time went by, and they did not address it. They didn't address it, so I had to go and address it myself.
You told me about in the beginning about I was going to ask were there privacy concerns involved in the situation before this incident, but you said with the whole field trip thing.
Yeah.
That was an incident before.
Yep.
Did the school? Well, you said a little bit, but you did notify the school about that scenario, and they still didn't. You just said they just let it go.
Yeah, they let it go. They didn't, and I feel like we failed by not following up with it. I figured they handled it. That's what expectation a parent has when you call the school about a behavioral issue or a concern, that they've addressed it and took care of the situation, which they did not.
Yeah. So, do you believe what happened to your daughter was preventable?
Oh, of course. As time went by and I started fighting this and doing more investigation, I went to a school committee meeting to address the school committee. It was on the 7th. They just happened to have one the next week, which was awesome, so I could go in there because they're not responding to me, so now I could go publicly. And there were school committee members that used to be on the board that actually showed up for this meeting and told them that I warned you that this was going to happen, and they had asked to put policies in place so this wouldn't happen. And it all came to light that day, that they had the opportunity and the chance to put a policy in place, especially for behavior like that. Like, if a child is acting that way in the bathroom, maybe it's a behavioral issue, you should have lost all rights to communal bathrooms, period, because this child does not know how to behave in a restroom.
Yeah. And so a couple of questions. Do you believe the adults responsible for the policy placed right now, I'll refix this whole question. Do you believe the adults responsible for the policy place the burden of solving an adult policy dispute onto the children? Do you think that because of this, should elementary school children reasonably be expect to be able to close a door and all the policies they have in place, do you think that it's something that the children can even understand?
No, they don't. They don't expect that when they go to school.
Yeah.
They expect to go to school, and if they have to use the restroom, they go to the restroom, they use it, and they wash their hands, and they go back to class. This shouldn't be something that a burden put on the children.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. That's not what they go to school for.
Yeah. And so, I know you said this, but I'm going to say it just so that way when everyone's watching can get the specific understanding of the policy that's in place right now. So what policy did the district tell you it was following?
They said there was no policy. They were following DESE, some suggestive law that says about anti-discrimination. So they were sticking to that. So.
Yeah, because I was thinking, is it Title IX or is it the other one, which is in Massachusetts law, that the child, depending on what they identify as, they can use the bathroom, and I forget if that's what law that exactly is.
Yeah, it's a state law, or that they refer to it as that is a law, which is open-ended. It's more suggestive.
Yeah.
If you go back to the second school committee meeting that I went to, I brought a person with me from Middleborough who experienced the same thing, and she did hundreds of hours of research on this law. Her name is Bridget Kearns, and I don't mind saying it because she's a very well-spoken. She was my angel that came to save me at that point and explain to them that it is not a law. But they're standing behind it saying it is, and it's not.
Okay. So I'm gonna give kind of like a strong counter argument. So I want to put the strongest argument from the other side to you. So transgender students are children too, right? Their parents argue that they deserve dignity, safety, and equal access to school facilities without being singled out. What do you say to those families in this scenario?
I want to tell you the truth. I don't think it's his fault. They do deserve their privacy and rights too, but not violating the rights of girls who know they're girls, who should be prioritized in those restrooms, and boys that are boys that go into the boys' restroom. Yeah, I feel terrible about that child. I really think that it's not his fault that this happened, and we've prayed for this child, and he's not even in the equation anymore.
Yeah.
He was out of the equation once the administration did not respond adequately. He was not in the equation. The public want to make it like I'm after this child. Not at all.
Yeah. Because it's like, it would feel like the next question would have been like, is your criticism directed at the other child, or is it at the adults creating and administered the policy? But it seems like it really is all about the adults that are, it has nothing to really do with the politics and the children. It has everything to do with the adults that are not following, you know? This
whole campaign is against the administration, the failure to implement policy, the failure to write policies to protect these children from the bathrooms that pertain to them.
Yep. At what point did you decide this had gone from beyond a disagreement with the school to requiring formal action?
It was when they didn't respond after the first school committee meeting, which was on the 7th of, this happened May 1st, May 7th, I went to the first school committee. I didn't hear nothing for almost 4 weeks. We filed a Title IX on May 17th. And then I proceeded to go back to the next school committee and voice my opinions too.
Yeah, so here's a fun kind of question, but imagine the superintendent is sitting where we are right now. What would you say?
Oh, like I told them when I did the Tri-Town School Committee meeting, I said, you're a father. You need to understand how I feel. This is not good. This is not correct. So you need to have some kind of empathy. You know, at least I'm sorry to begin with. It would have opened up the door to conversation.
Yeah. So before this happened, did you ever imagine that you would be publicly discussing your daughter's elementary school bathroom?
Absolutely not. I moved to this town. We're a family that likes to go hiking, fishing. I coach baseball. My daughter does Girl Scouts. None of this ever existed in my life. Politics, all this nonsense never was in my life. Now it has consumed us completely.
Yeah. And how has this affected your daughter since that day?
Oh, she's been traumatized by it. She had to revert back to therapy, and she was almost off of therapy. They were about to just let her be and then check in a couple of months. Now we're back to like almost every week. So that tells you right there. She was sick. She has anxiety over it. When we're in public areas, my wife or I have to go with her. I have to look for a family restroom if it's just me, because I can't go in the women's room with her, so I have to find family restrooms and be able to go in there and help let her know that she's secure and that dad is standing outside the door. She began locking doors here at home, which she'd never done before. So it just tells you the mental and emotional toll that it took on her.
Yeah. And I guess years from now, as like a close to this interview, years from now, when your daughter is old enough to fully understand the fight that her parents took on after this happened, what do you hope she understands about why you're fighting for her?
I just want her to know that you don't have to, let's say, you don't have to convert to other people's beliefs. You know, you need to stand up for what's right, what's really morally and ethically right. You need to be able to stand up for that. And I started with her when she wrote that letter. I backed her up on it because you have a voice. You know, she's too young to speak for herself now. She's got my voice. But when she gets older, I want her to be able to advocate for other girls too and protect them as well.
Yeah. And what do you think, I guess as the final question, what do you think that your daughter deserves from the school right now?
I would have been happy with an I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We failed. I would have been happy with that and then sat down and have a 10, 15-minute conversation and we could have had this all resolved.
Yeah,
but they chose to ignore me, and every time they did ignore me, it was just a slap in the face and just like she was trash. They discarded her like she was trash. It's not going to stay like this. No, until I don't feel, or she feels that she's whole. The day she tells me to stop, I'll stop. but she doesn't want me to stop because she knows what I'm doing is right. She has to be whole. I have to be whole. So we can move on with our lives and put all this behind us.
And she has to be able to feel safe.
Safe, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right.
All right,
We're
sir.
here on a major intersection of Walnut Plain and Mary's Pond. This is a prime piece of real estate here. I put my first sign on this corner and it was stolen. So I decided to come back and replace it with this guy here. Come and take a look. This is a 4x6 banner and I stuck it in the ground with steel rods and concrete blocks. Now they won't touch it. We had to put no posted signs on here. It was a Subaru Forester, which we just found out is registered to somebody on Mattapoisett Road, and we're gonna let the authorities know about that. I just found this information out not too long ago. But this is the most corner that's talked about in the town of Rochester right now because of the signs. And it's just simple, no boys and girls wrestling. So don't take my signs, please.